Star Wars has just entered its most important leadership shift in years, a shift that could finally answer the question fans have been asking for over a decade. Can Star Wars be great again? Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down, and in her place, two familiar names are taking over. Dave Filoni, the creative heart of the franchise, and Lynwen Brennan, its steady operational force. In this video, we are going to break down what this change actually means, why fans have reason to be cautiously optimistic, who Filoni and Brennan are, and why their roles matter, and whether this new era can finally bring Star Wars back to its roots. Stick around because we'll also look at the projects in development and give you the real reason why its leadership change could matter more than you think. After nearly 14 years running Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down as president. But she's not disappearing just yet. She'll remain as a producer on the next two big theatrical projects, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and Star Wars Starfighter, due in 2027. In her place, Lucasfilm has appointed Dave Filoni as President and Chief Creative Officer, and Lynwen Brennan as co-president. This dual leadership is deliberate. Filoni takes creative ownership, storytelling, tone, while Brennan runs the business, operations and strategy side of Lucasfilm. This model is reminiscent of how Star Wars operated under George Lucas himself. Lucas was the creative visionary, while production and business executives handled the operations. Now, Filoni and Brennan might be the closest modern equivalents. So, who is Dave Filoni? Dave's journey started with Star Wars long before his presidency. He joined Lucasfilm in 2005, handpicked to build the company's animation department and work on Star Wars: The Clone Wars. From there, he went on to create or shape The Clone Wars, Rebels, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka. His style has always been rooted in deep character development, respect for Star Wars lore, and long-term story arcs that reward patience. He was closely mentored by George Lucas, meaning he didn't just work for Star Wars, he lived it. Filoni understands fan expectations, but he also understands the sense of wonder that made Star Wars great in the first place. For many fans, that's the core of the excitement here. Now, who is Lynwen Brennan? Brennan isn't a creative like Filoni, but she's just as important. She began at Lucasfilm in 1999 at Industrial Light and Magic, or as we know it, ILM, and quickly rose through the ranks. In 2015, she eventually became General Manager of Lucasfilm. Brennan is what we expect the kind of executive to be who ensures projects stay on time, budgets stay healthy, corporate strategy aligns with long-term goals. Pairing Filoni with Brennan is strategic. It separates creative vision from day-to-day execution. Combined, they cover both sides of Lucasfilm's mission, something fans have wanted for years. Think of it like one person dreaming the stories and another making sure they get made. Why this is a positive move, from my perspective. And here's where I get to speak as a fan and someone who's watched this franchise grow, struggle and evolve. Star Wars under Kennedy was wildly ambitious, far-reaching, but commercially successful. But it also struggled with narrative cohesion, film follow-through, and had very mixed reception among fans. That's not to dismiss Kennedy's tenure. She shepherded a significant amount of content, and helped make The Mandalorian a cultural hit, and save Rogue One, which eventually led to Andor. Filoni and Brennan's leadership feels like a return to cultural authenticity though. Filoni's roots go back to collaborating with Lucas on The Clone Wars, a project that was once dismissed but became beloved. He's one of the few people in modern Star Wars whose vision aligns with what fans and creators actually love. Layered storytelling, character depth, long arc mythology. Meanwhile, Brennan ensures that vision isn't just dreamed, it's delivered. This combination feels like creativity and structure finally working together again. With this change, a big question is, what about all those Star Wars movies and shows we've been hearing about? Thanks to Kennedy's exit interviews and industry coverage, we have some updates. We already know The Mandalorian and Grogu will release in 2026, and Starfighter in 2027, where Kathleen will stay as a producer on both. James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie is one most fans were looking forward to, being set in a completely new era. But unfortunately, it's been put on hold for unknown reasons. In some positive news, Donald Glover has turned in a script for a Lando movie, but I'm not too sure right now that this is the direction Filoni will take Lucasfilm, at least in the near future. We also heard Simon Kinberg is working on a full trilogy of films, and that Taika Waititi also turned in a hilarious and great script for a movie. I don't love the idea of a hilarious Star Wars movie given the direction Waititi took Thor: Love and Thunder, and I'm not so sure this will ever see the light of day personally. More promisingly, Kathleen suggested that a Hunt for Ben Solo movie by Steven Soderbergh was not impossible to happen, but probably isn't currently seen as a priority. I expect there to be some new official communication from Lucasfilm or Disney later this year, where Filoni takes us through what is and isn't happening and gives us some form of expected release order, similar to what Feige often achieves with the Marvel franchise. In this, we can for sure expect Disney to still be betting big on a Rey movie, and of course, the Filoniverse movie, which is even more likely to happen now, featuring all his and our favourite characters from this recent era. So what does this teach us about Lucasfilm's future? Let's be honest, Star Wars has felt distracted at times over the last decade. Storylines shifted, movies were delayed, films underperformed. Great shows lived on streaming instead of theatres. But the structural change we're seeing right now feels intentional. Rather than one person carrying all the weight, we have Filoni focusing on story, tone and direction, and Brennan handling strategy, business and operations. This division of labour is exactly what George Lucas did. Lucas didn't run everything. He let creatives create and executives execute. By returning to that model, Lucasfilm could finally be more consistent, cohesive, fan-centric, and creatively daring. But when the person with institutional memory, someone who grew up in Star Wars, controls both story and strategy, the company is no longer at odds with its heritage. So what do we make of all of this? Is Filoni truly the leader Star Wars needs? I think yes, but with nuance. This feels like a reset, not a reboot. It feels like a chance to reclaim narrative identity, respect fan expectations, and build long-term storytelling again. But it also depends on execution. The Mandalorian and Grogu has to land. Starfighter needs to be bold. Animation and television need to support global momentum. If they succeed, we aren't just watching movies or series. We are watching a unified franchise reborn with clarity and purpose. And that's a future worth being excited about. Here's the bottom line. The era of Lucasfilm led by people who grew up with Star Wars has begun. Filoni brings storytelling heritage, Brennan brings operational expertise, and Kennedy, instead of being gone, supports continuity from a producing seat. That's not accidental, that's a strategic play. And if anyone can finally bridge the gap between fans, creators, and the global audience Star Wars deserves, it's this duo. May the Force be with them, and with all of us fans, as we watch a new chapter begin. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, then check out a recent video, and hit subscribe so you never miss another Star Wars discussion.